This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. It's so great to have you joining me here in these online lessons. This is lesson 8 in this series that is all about strumming patterns and strumming principles. In this lesson, I'm going to be introducing the dotted quarter note rhythm. So we haven't yet used that rhythm in any of the strumming patterns we've done, and it kind of creates some fun variations. So let's go ahead and take a look. Up here on the board, I have 3 different patterns we're going to work on. This first one has a dotted quarter note followed by an eighth note and then 4 more eighth notes. So you could say 5 eighth notes, but the way it's written up here helps you see where beat 3, so the middle of the bar, happens. So dotted quarter note followed by an eighth note followed by 4 more eighth notes. And if we're using the even eighth notes, as we've learned about, we'd have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and that's how that rhythm goes. If we add in the strumming direction, which I've got written above, we've got down, up, 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 down, up. If we go ahead and apply it to a chord progression, we've got up here on the board G, E minor, C, and D, which is a favorite that we use sometimes. So G, E minor, C, and D. One time, one measure per chord, we'd have 1, 2, ready, and. Just like that. Now, one of the great things about the dotted quarter note is it can be used like a long note, but not a super long one, like a whole note or a dotted half or even a half note. It just sort of breaks up the strumming pattern a little bit. So we can actually use this pattern to maybe alter the groove or change up the groove or give ourselves a little bit of a space to break up something where we're having a lot more rhythmic action happening. So if we were doing the strumming pattern where we're like down, down, up, down, up, down, up, or if we were going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then we got to this. Sort of breaks it up and gives it a little bit of room. Now when we get to 16th notes being in the strumming patterns, later on in the course, we can see that this pattern could really break that up and create some nice space and a nice contrast. So this one can be used to create the groove all by itself, or it can be used to break up a groove, which is kind of cool. Okay, so we did that one time through with even eighth notes. We know that a contributing factor to our strumming patterns is how we play things, and we can alter sometimes how we play things a little bit, both in how we're strumming or slapping or treating each rhythmic figure, treating a rest, treating each chord, however we're doing that, if we're letting things ring over the top of each other, if we're palm muting and so on. Those all create variations to the strumming pattern. We know rhythmically that with eighth notes, we can do a swung eighth note pattern, or we can do an even eighth note pattern. Even eighths, straight eighths, those are kind of synonyms. So we were just doing it with the even eighths, where each of the eighth notes is treated equally. They all have the same amount of time. When we swing the eighth notes, we push the ones on the offbeat further back into the beat. So we would do down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and if we plug that into our chord progression, we'd have a 1, 2, ready, and G. just like that, and as simple as that. Now I'm going to circle back around and do some other variations, changing the strumming direction, using the palm muting, and to show some other ways that we could use this strumming pattern. I'll do that after we've gone through these like I often do in these lessons. But let's go ahead and look at the variation if we were to go into 3/4 time instead of 4/4 time. So all that's happened in this case is that a beat is missing off the end, and we can use this for 3/4 time, which is a principle that sometimes works when you're looking for a pattern that you want to use in 3/4 time. Maybe you want more variation than sort of the typical foundational ones we do. You can drop a beat out of a 4/4 pattern. You just have to find which beat you want to drop, and then you've got the number of eighth notes and the number of rhythmic beats in the measure that you need to have. Once you drop a beat or 2 eighth notes, drop that quarter note, you get that. Okay, so in 3/4 time then, we'd have 1, 2, up, 3, up, 1, 2, up, 3, up, 1, 2, up, 3, up, 1, 2, up, 3, up. And of course, that's with the even eighth notes. If we plug that in to our chord progression, 1 measure per chord, we'd have 1, 2, 3, G. Now we can of course swing this as well, so we can swing these eighth notes. We'd have 1, 2, up, 3, up, 1, 2, up, 3, up, 1, 2, up, 3, up, 1, 2, up, 3, up. So 3, 2, 1. That one works, which can be great to use in 3/4 time. Okay, let's look at one more here before we do some other variations, other ways we can vary these. And it's the one right in the middle, back to 4/4 time. I've added from the last lesson, we had the syncopated figure we learned about. So down, up, up here, we're syncopating across from the and a 3 across beat 4, so we're not actually filling beat 4. We've added this emphasis to an off beat. We get the syncopated feel, and then we've got the and a 4 there. So dotted quarter note and the eighth starts the same way as the rhythms we've already been doing. So we'd have 1, 2, up, 3, up, up. That's how that goes. 1, 2, and 3, and. So down, up, up, up. 2, ready, you'd have down, up, up. A 2, ready, and down, up, up. A 2, ready, and down, up, up. Now, I've been stopping it because it can be a little bit tricky to come around this eighth note and come back and catch that quarter note. But if we just keep it going, we're going to have 1, 2, ready, you'd have down, up, 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 down, up. Now if we plug that into the chord progression, we have 1, 2, ready, and. We can swing these eighth notes, so 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and. And if we threw that in with the chord progression, we'd have 1, 2, ready, and. So Okay, so let's take a look at a couple other ways that we could create variations with these strumming patterns. We know that if we change up the way we're treating the strummed chords, that it'll actually create another variation. So let's look at a couple different ways that we might want to do that. So with this strumming pattern that we were just doing, why don't we start there? So far, I've been demonstrating examples with the open position chords where we're just letting everything ring over the top of each other, which is a nice sound. That's part of the thing we love about the guitar. All those open strings, so we can go on just letting those sounds ring. There might be a time when we don't necessarily want them to ring. So for example, I could come up here and use bar chords, use my left hand to control how long each one rings, and just playing bar chords in and of themselves, these types of voicings don't ring over top of each other quite as much, because we have to, all that sustain comes from our hand holding the chord down, all of it. So with this one I could do a strumming pattern where I hold it, and then as soon as I play that syncopated quarter note on that and of 3, I can come off after it that sort of cuts it off, and I could do it twice, so I can do it on the and of 4 as well. So I could have, so I'm just showing that there on G, but if I did it with the whole progression, we'd have 1, 2, ready, and. Now that's an example. I could do where I'm actually palm muting in first position. And when I'm doing palm muting, a lot of times all down strums works really great, but I just use that palm of my hand sitting right there on the saddle, and I could do. We got two things happening that create a variation there. I changed the strumming direction and added the palm muting. A lot of times when we do strumming with the palm muting and we use alternating strumming directions, then we'll catch, we won't always be able to stay down very well for the up strum, so it sort of creates another variation a little bit. So now doing this one that way is kind of fun because those up strums sort of help accent those syncopated figures by making them a little bit more lively than the other strings with that palm muting, which is kind of cool. Let's look at one more variation. I'll do this for the top one. And if we go to power chords, which are a lot of times fun to do, and we do all down on the strumming direction, then we can use that palm muting or not. I'm going to start out without using it. We'd have down. If I run that through the progression, adding in the palm muting, we have 1, 2, ready, and. Now it's also fun to just do the strumming direction. With that palm muting, I'm sort of actually kind of slapping the strings as I go, as I'm bouncing up and down. It creates a little bit of a slap as those strings hit the frets, so it creates a little bit of a rhythmic aspect that's kind of nice. So So there's some different examples that can be used with a variety of styles of music. All great. All can be plugged in to their respective time signatures. So we got 4/4 time and 3/4 time. Any of the types of variations that I've created for the 4/4 strumming patterns could also be done with that 1 and 3/4. So hope that's fun for you. In the next lesson, we're actually going to look at how we can insert bass note plucks into the strumming patterns. So where we're plucking out an individual note from the chord, the root note usually, could be an alternate bass note, but how we can insert those into the strumming patterns. So it's going to be super fun. I hope you're having fun with the guitar. We've got lessons that come out Monday through Saturday, so lots of cool things happening, lots of things to check out. Keep at it. Keep having fun with that guitar. Take care, and we'll see you again. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.